Feeling more confident in her skin, the star discussed her upcoming 4-part docuseries, Dancing with the Devil.
I had 3 strokes. I had a heart attack. My doctors said that I had 5 to 10 more minutes.
First, I wanted to set the record straight. You know, a lot of stories were going around that time that didn't really know exactly what had happened.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Exposing SMG. Today we are talking about Demi Lovato and their Dancing with the Devil era. I've talked a lot about Demi these past few months, and I even made a video talking about their documentary, the album, the froyo scandal, and then concerns that fans have started having about Demi. As you can see from the order of my videos, the era progressively got less positive and more negative. Demi Lovato's comeback after suffering a near-fatal OD in 2018 was one of the most anticipated returns to music. Unfortunately, the era went downhill just as fast as it started. I actually have an inside joke with Demi's fans, Lovatics, in which we say that the Dancing with the Devil, the Art of Starting Over era was one great week, until it all went to hell. Here are 7 things that went wrong in the Dancing with the Devil era. Number 1. The froyo scandal. Do I even need to elaborate on this? I thought I'd start the video with the main thing that I feel was the reason that everyone was done with Demi Lovato. God, the era was going so well. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch my video about that, which explains everything. Basically, Demi got very triggered by a froyo shop in LA called The Big Chill, and then took to Instagram to call out their branding as a way of making a point. Everyone felt that Demi overreacted or was so out of touch with reality that they attacked a froyo shop for her own struggles and triggers. No matter how you want to paint a situation, a scandal that makes you extremely unlikable to people isn't a good scandal. If you guys keep up with my blog, I've talked about how different celebrity scandals can positively or negatively impact a celebrity. At the end of the day, a scandal equals more free publicity, which fuels drama, which fuels attention, and before you know it, sales are at an all-time high. However, in the case of Demi, the scandal didn't work that way for them. I don't know if I should call it a scandal considering Demi caused it, like Demi literally walked right into the trap. We can't blame anyone else for this drama but Demi because it 100% could have been avoided if she wrote her feelings in a diary as opposed to on Instagram. Anyways, Demi was already coming back from a scandalous past, and the documentary was focused heavily on Demi telling their story whilst also owning up to their actions. This is something I always praise Demi for. However, with Demi lashing out publicly and not having a strong basis of an argument, it made people see them as this shallow and self-absorbed person who's attacking a small business during a pandemic. And when the general public sees you like that, I promise you, no one wants to give your story a second listen. No one wants to listen to your album. No one wants to see what the drama's about. This type of negative publicity hurts the celebrity. Any sort of drama that shows the celebrity as unlikable is drama that does more harm than good. People now look back at this era and remember the froyo fiasco more than anything. It made more noise than the album, which sucks because the album truly was flawless. Do you think the froyo fiasco ruined the era and turned people away from Demi? Number 2. Not utilizing the hype. If there is one thing that Demi constantly fails at in their lengthy career, it's that they don't ever utilize the hype. Sure, we can blame it on their managers and team, but it also has to do with Demi, who often does whatever they feel like doing at the time. Most celebrities have to invent drama or get into fake relationships to make their lives interesting. Demi's life is already so messy to the point where it becomes interesting without them purposely making it that. I mean, come on. Getting engaged to a clout-chasing loser and proclaiming your love for a stranger that you met 2 weeks before the pandemic? Not even the world's greatest comedians can write a story funnier than that. But of course, Demi didn't utilize it. Instead, they leaked "Still Have Me" on Twitter and had their team scrambling to get it on official streaming services. Their manager, Scooter Braun, told angry fans that he was working on getting it on official streaming services because it was just leaked on Twitter by none other than Demi. Now, it gets funnier. Demi has a specific song dedicated to that homeless man Max Ehrich, whom she invited into her house during the pandemic. The song is called 15 Minutes, and I already talked about it in a different video. This song is so underrated, so amazing, so shady, and yet barely anyone heard it. It should have been released as a promo single to the album shortly after the announcement that their engagement was off. But nope, not only did Demi leak an older song that fit the current situation, they also didn't release or at least tease the era by releasing 15 Minutes. Everyone would have loved to hear Demi drag Max since the entire world was hopping on the trend at the time. Tweets about Max were going viral on Twitter with hundreds of thousands of likes. Most tweets ratioed Demi, and yet they didn't capitalize on that. Of course, this can be a flaw from their management as well, but nonetheless, it was a strong point that wasn't utilized in this era. Let me know if you agree down in the comments below. Number 3. Not utilizing collabs, especially if the collab is with Ariana Grande. If you don't know, when a celebrity collaborates with another celebrity, it's usually not because they're the best of friends and they love working together so much, it's usually because it's good for business. Collaborations are used to expose celebrities to different audiences. In the case of Ariana and Demi, they are friends, but the collaboration is also good for business. I can rant about how collaborations were one of the key points in starting up Ariana's already legendary career, but I can leave that for a different video if you'd like. Demi and Ariana collaborated on the song Met Him Last Night, which was the most anticipated song on the album after Demi revealed the track list. The song's social media engagement outdid any other track that was announced, and so it was rightfully assumed that it would become the album's second single. The thing is, it wasn't announced as an official single, but was made one without an official announcement. I don't know if they're gonna do a re-release or whatever, but it's definitely a missed opportunity. Met Him Last Night was announced as a single on Spotify, and it was even given its own single cover and was separated from the album. But here we are 2 months later, and there is no radio play for the song, no music video, nothing. On the other hand, you see other stars utilizing their Ariana collabs such as The Weeknd, Doja Cat, Megan Thee Stallion, and so on. But nope, not Demi Lovato or their team. What do you think? Number 4. The hype died since Demi was releasing useless collabs that didn't create any anticipation for the album. When the pandemic hit in 2020, all plans were put on pause for everyone, including celebrities. There was a different approach that Demi was going to take at the time, but everything changed. One could argue that the pandemic was the reason that the hype for the album died, but here's the thing. When Demi returned with I Love Me, the song became a top 20 hit, peaking at number 18 on Billboard. That's Demi's highest charting single of this decade so far. Every song released after that didn't crack the top 30 on Billboard, and arguably, Demi released much better songs that were praised more by fans and critics. The thing is, there was hype when I Love Me was released. Demi then continued to release collaborations that destroyed any hype that was left. They released I'm Ready with Sam Smith and It's Okay Not to Be Okay with Marshmello. It was followed up by Commander-in-Chief, Yawn, and What Other People Say, and then finally, the lead single Dancing with the Devil. But by the time we came to Dancing with the Devil, the only people left standing were ones that naturally keep up with Demi. But it wasn't the general public. It was constant releases after one another that didn't make any noise and just took away from anticipation and hype. It would have been a different story if the collabs were relatively successful, but they weren't. Number 5. Shifting focus away from the album and onto other projects. With the documentary and the album coming out hand in hand and elaborating on the entire story that Demi was trying to tell, it was about a solid 48 hours until the focus was shifted somewhere else. Besides the froyo fiasco, Demi started doing other things that didn't seem to match up with the era. They started their own podcast called 4D with Demi, and the first episode was relatively relevant because that's where Demi came out as non-binary and identifying with the pronouns they, them. I was excited for the podcast, but quite frankly, I'm not a fan of it. I find it quite boring and irrelevant to Demi's era. It'd be one thing if Demi was releasing this podcast during a time where there wasn't much for fans to anticipate, but how did you release a whole album and documentary only to dip and talk about finding yourself or whatever it is they ramble about on there on the podcast? Let me know if you agree with this or if you actually enjoy 4D with Demi. I'm open to trying to listen to it, I think. Another thing that Demi and their team shifted focus away from the era is by having Demi perform tributes at award shows rather than their own songs. Demi attended the iHeartRadio Awards, and instead of performing a song from their new and lengthy album, they were there to give Elton John a tribute. I don't know, it just doesn't make sense. And it's not like this was the Oscars where they're very specific about what goes on there and whatnot. It's iHeartRadio. It's not that prestigious. Number 6. Oversaturation. When a person is everywhere in a not so pleasant way, the general public gradually starts losing interest in them. I think one of the main reasons why this era went downhill is from how oversaturated Demi has become, and it's not saturation in a good way either. It's not like there's so much exciting projects and interviews going on. No, it's just Demi always posting contradicting stuff on Instagram or choosing certain causes to advocate whilst ignoring others. It's just a lot of things that are bad in quality. I'd rather have 2 amazing interviews from Demi than random rambles on their podcast or posting every thought on Instagram. I've elaborated about this constant posting in my fan concerns about Demi video and in a recent Selena Gomez blog post, where I said that Selena's exclusiveness on social media or just not being constantly present makes people miss her and therefore builds up intrigue and hype. I'll link the article down below. I exposed a lot of new information about Selena if you're interested in reading that. But let me know what you think about Demi being oversaturated and whether or not you agree or disagree. Number 7. Lack of promotion. Ultimately, it comes down to no promotion, and if there's nothing to look forward to, fans get bored. As I said, there are no intriguing interviews, performances from the album, and just overall anything. What Demi is doing right now seems consistent with what someone will do on break from music rather than in the midst of an album release. It's a deadly combo to be oversaturated yet lacking any promotion. It's like you're everywhere but nowhere at the same time. I really want to hear your thoughts about this. Do you think this era for Demi went downhill? Why or why not? And do you agree with my reasons, and do you have any other reasons to add on? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, let me know if you checked out Demi's album and what are your thoughts about it. I'll link my album review down below if you're interested in checking that out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.